Let's get right into it. Street Fighter 6 needs to be free to play, or at least some aspect of it should. With its reveal last week, the fighting game world is buzzing with excitement over the next iteration of the long-running series, and Capcom is promising a Street Fighter title that pushes the fighting game genre into the future. And nothing would scream innovation more than taking their flagship fighting franchise and breaking the walls down for everyone to play.
You're all free now!
Free-to-play games still have sort of a stigma on them from the early days of mobile gaming, with some still associating the term free-to-play with games of questionable quality and a vampiric appetite for your hard-earned cash. But the reality is some of the biggest franchises in the market right now have either fully embraced or incorporated aspects of the free-to-play model into their business strategy. Call of Duty, Destiny 2, even Final Fantasy XIV, Square Enix's Golden Goose, lets you play the entire first 2 expansions of the MMO in their entirety for $0. Now, I can totally understand why Capcom would be hesitant to make Street Fighter 6 free to play. Street Fighter is one of Capcom's most prominent and recognizable brands. I mean, it's in Fortnite, for Christ's sakes. And it stands to make a lot of money on every major release, especially in this case since, unlike Street Fighter V, SF6 will be hitting almost every platform at launch, and at $60 to $70 a copy, that could be a decent chunk of change. But it's also a large barrier of entry. Look, there's already enough in the way of newcomers to the fighting game genre. New systems and characters to learn, a lack of meaningful single-player content to keep them hooked, and learning how to deal with that newfound sense of rage when 14-year-old Jimmy knocks your ass out of the bracket. Throwing a large price tag on top of all this might be one of the major things keeping fighting games from hitting the wider audience I believe it deserves. If I'm someone new to the genre, or even just a busy human being, I may not want to commit my hard-earned cash to a game that I know I'm just not able to commit the time to. But for the low-risk cost of free $99? Well, if it worked for AOL in the 90s, it's probably gonna work for me. Case in point, I play games like Valorant and Blood Hunt almost every night, not because I'm an avid battle royale or tactical shooter fan. Just ask my teammates, I'm dog shit. But I play them because all of my friends can play them too for free, and we can keep giving these games a try and stick with the ones we like without burning a hole in our pockets. It's not like Capcom couldn't rake in even more profit with a good monetization plan behind a free-to-play Street Fighter 6. I've spent countless dollars on battle passes, agents, and skins for Valorant just because I enjoy my time with the game, and I've probably spent more on free-to-play titles than I have on any other type of game. If I'm really liking Street Fighter 6, I have no problems reaching for my wallet to pay for new characters, costumes, the Yipes commentary pack.
Wow! That boy is moving, he is on them!
Or even things like official online events for actual prize money, something that Magic the Gathering Arena has been experimenting with in their Arena Open events. This concept isn't even entirely new to fighting games, as we've seen the free-to-play model being used in titles going as far back as a decade ago. Killer Instinct's reboot in 2013 was developed from the outset with a free-to-play model in mind, and at one point hit a milestone of 10 million players that had at least tried the game, and sold DLC that would help community tournaments and prize pots. Dead or Alive 5 and 6 also had free-to-play core versions of each title, and even Tekken experimented with a free-to-play version of the series in 2013's Tekken Revolution. And with games like Multiverses and Project L announced as or expected to be free-to-play, it looks like fighting games are gearing up to give free-to-play another real shot. Oh yeah, and Brawlhalla exists. But if Street Fighter 6 were to lead that charge and be successful with it, it could lead to an era of fighting game success we can't even dream of. Regardless of what you think of the IP lately, Street Fighter is still Street Fighter, and for a large portion of the mainstream gaming audience, it's still one of the first titles that come to mind when people think about fighting games, and wherever it goes, the industry will follow. Because if you can combine a solid free-to-play model with a fresh new take on a beloved and respected fighting game franchise that has solid online play and reasons for me to routinely spend money on it, well, you've got a recipe for what could be one of the biggest fighting games of all time. They better hurry though, because Project L is looming large. And if you're not convinced that Street Fighter 6 should go free to play, you should check out my documentary on the 2013 Killer Instinct reboot that did, and see if that could convince you. Many thanks to our wonderful patrons for making videos like this happen, including our special contributor Fightstick, who wants to use their promotional spot to promote Infill's amazing fighting game glossary. Go check it out at glossary.infill.net.